Okay, so I have no idea if this idea is going to work, but I'm not the best with wrap-ups, so we're going to try something new. We're going to try this idea. I don't know if it's new on BookTube, but it's new to me, and it's rapid reviews. So essentially, what rapid reviews is I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes, and then I have 2 minutes to review every book I read in June. So I'm going to start with the pile of books I have physically, then we're going to switch to audiobooks and ebooks that I can't access physically. Okay, so the first book, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Go! Okay, so Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This is about two friends who meet years ago, get separated, meet up again. It's something to do with gaming. I couldn't understand it. There was a lot of like switching between timelines. I couldn't tell which was which, but it was well written, and I have liked Gabrielle Zevin's writing before because she wrote she did write one of my favorite books, Story Life of AJ Fickery. This one just personally wasn't for me. I will probably pick up more of her books. But yeah, it is well written, and I get why people like it. It was on my 12 for 12 recommended, so I got that knocked off. And maybe 2 minutes was too long. Okay, I'm going to do 1 minute for the next one, because it's more rapid that way. But yeah, this book was well written, just wasn't for me. But I'm not dis-recommending it for someone else. I think it was just too smart. I think it was just too smart people-y for me, to be honest. And that's the only reason why I DNF'd it. Couldn't understand it. My mind is quite stupid, like 80% of the time. So yeah, it was just too clever for me. Yeah, alright, Alright, what else can I tell you about it? From what I understood, it's about this gaming contest. One of the characters invented a game, the other one is testing it, and it's something to do with it's something to do with them traveling to this competition. Okay, so that's my timer for that one. So to make it more rapid reviews and more intense, I'm going to set it for 1 minute. Yeah, that one was true. That one was rapid, but it wasn't as time pressury as I wanted the fun of this to be. So yeah, the next one is Come and Get It by Kylie Reid. 1 minute review, start. Okay, this book, no idea what it's about. I read about 100 pages of it, was totally confused. So there was so much happening while also having nothing happening at the exact same time. And I have read Kylie Reid before. Such a Fun Age was a better written book because I at least followed the story. This one is just a bunch of smart people. It's just a bunch of smart, pompous people gathered together to, I don't know, something to do with college, and it involves it involves like college, wedding talk, and a bunch of like research that I actually couldn't care less about. But Kylie Reid, I don't know if I'll pick up more from her. We'll see. But yes, this was also another DNF. Yeah, so 1 minute seems like a good time. Okay. Next book, Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. Go. Okay, this book is about two sisters. They're separate. They're on other sides of the world. They don't know that they're sisters, but they find out about each other when their father dies in a plane crash. And you've got Camino and Yaharia. Yeah. They have totally different experiences with their lives. One of them is like single parent, situation in a poorer country. One of them lives in New York, and they've got a bigger support, and so they end up having to unite and come together to both meet and complete the funeral and have their father's funeral. Again, this one was probably just a bit too smart for me. It was written in verse, and I couldn't really get into the story of it being written in verse, but I will try her writing again. Yeah, see, this is why it's a pressure, because I tend to ramble on. These rapid reviews are for me to get to the point faster. Okay, next book. Love of My Life by Rosie Walsh. Go. Okay, this book is about this woman named Emma. I remember that because it's my name. But she lived a double life, and it's revealed in this that her name wasn't always Emma. She has a seat, and that's not a spoiler, it's on the bio. But yeah, her and her husband Leo live with their daughter Ruby, but she has a past that she hasn't told Leo about. She's basically been avoiding it for years, and it makes it seem a lot more mysterious than it is. Yeah, it makes it seem a lot more mysterious than it is. And basically this book is about her double life coming back to haunt her. I got it in a book box, so I didn't pick this one up by choice, but it was a pretty good story. It was a pretty good story. I liked the writing. I probably won't keep the book, but I'm glad I read it. Okay, next book. Let's get the timer ready. Okay, next book. The Parent Trap by Eric Kastner. Go. Okay, this book is again about two sisters who didn't know about each other's existence until they meet at the summer camp. One of them is from Munich in Germany. The other one lives in Vienna, Austria. Now, it's written for children, so it's not a very long book. But yeah, the sisters decide to switch places. They essentially go to meet the other parent that they never knew about. And the dad is never around for his daughter. The mother, I think is around more, but yeah, they both work. And then not only is the father not there for their daughter, he then tells this daughter that he's getting married to this woman that she has not met before the summer camp. So she had, okay. See, it's getting harder now because my rambling is taking over. Okay, the next book is The Love Interest by Helen Comerford. Go. So this book is essentially about this superhero named Blaze. The main character, Jenna, because she was the first person he rescued in his superhero era, she automatically is meant to now be written or Destiny as his love interest. But she is refusing that. She doesn't want that life. She has really bad anxiety. She wants nothing to do with the spotlight or anything of the reporters. But she essentially gets drawn into that life anyway when the villains tell her that they need her to sneak into the hero's headquarters, so she ends up having to pretend to be the superhero's love interest anyway. But this book is a really fun time. It's quite funny. It's complete satire. But we'll be picking up more from her. Okay, the next book, The Silver Arrow by Lev Grossman. And go. Okay, this book is about two siblings, and one of them gets gifted a train as a birthday gift from her uncle, and they end up in it, and they go on this adventure in the train. They end up as the two young conductors. They meet all of these animals who tell the girl, Kate is her name. they essentially tell Kate that it's her job to get these animals home to where they need to be, and then after that she also needs to get herself home in one piece. Yeah, I bought this from Comic-Con about 2 years ago. I even got it signed and personalized. Yeah, there it is. I even got it signed. So yeah, I'm glad that I did finally get to this book. And it's a middle grade, it's short, it's cute. Love it. Okay, the next book is I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Anne Liang. And, oh wait, I forgot to set it. And go. Okay, so this book is essentially To All the Ways I've Loved Before, but it's with hate emails instead of love letters. Yeah, so the main character in this, Sadie, similar vibes to Lara Jean. She writes these hate emails that she never means to send, and then they get sent accidentally. So then she's forced to. She's essentially a school captain, and she's co-captains with this guy she doesn't like, and then they're essentially forced to work together because the hate emails have brought bad press to the school, and so it's kind of like in a hatred to lovers. It's not really enemies to love, but yeah, to hate to love. These two have to team up and work together, even though she outrightly hates this guy. Alright, we're doing well so far. We're nearly done with my physical pile. Then I've got to go on to the audiobooks and all that I listen to. Okay, next review. The Wild Robot by Peter Brown. Timer set and go. Yeah, The Wild Robot by Peter Brown. This is such a cute book. It's essentially about this robot named Roz. She is in this crate of robots, and she's the only robot that survives. She is activated in this island full of animals, and because she wasn't activated until this island, she doesn't know she's a robot. She sees this island full of animals as her home, the only home she's ever known. She befriends all the animals, even if they make fun of her at first. And she also becomes mother to a duck, because the duck ends up orphaned because she accidentally squishes the eggs. So she becomes the duck's mother. And yeah, it's such a cute story. I do recommend this book, and I will be picking up the other two in the series. Boom. Okay. Next book is Perfect Match by Jodi Picoult. 1 minute, start. Okay, I don't know how to describe what this book is about, because any of the main word descriptions I give will get me red flagged on YouTube. But it's essentially about this lawyer who serves cases that are really sad. It involves children and situations they shouldn't be in. And then she's forced to deal with the fact that her 8-year-old son is now one of the victims of these cases that she's used to in court. So she has to go from being a lawyer to being a parent. And it's one of those, what would you do in this situation if your kid suddenly became the person you're meant to protect? You have to protect your child, but also stick to the law. And yeah, I will be picking up more Jodi Picoult. Nailed it. Yeah. Nailed it. Okay, the last physical book that I own before we move on to my audiobooks and others. Yeah, before we move on to my audiobooks mainly. Okay, and that is Till Death Do Us Part by Rose Black. And go. This book, it is so adorable. It's about this man named Logan. He was known for fighting, but then he retires from that life and sets up a life in the country with his new husband Pi. Then his husband Pi disappears. So he has to go back into the action of this life and rescue his husband. He sets out on a quest. He meets this, I don't know what they're called, but a necromancer, and somehow she summons the ghost of his ex-wife, who then end up tagging along on the journey to rescue his husband Pi. And it is just such a sweet story. Logan is a sweetheart, Pi is a cinnamon roll, and the other two characters are hilarious. Okay, so I am going to change over my battery and make sure these books don't fall. And I will be back when I've changed over the battery, and we'll continue my rapid fire reviews. Okay, I'm back. And and for the ones that I don't have in front of me, I have my laptop to remind myself what I read this month. And realistically, I could go into my brother's house and grab the couple that I got off their bookshelf, but it is dark, raining, and I don't want to go down there. So, editing me will just put the covers in. Alright, this was actually my first read of the month, but the next one I'm going to talk about is Neverending Story. And go. Okay, this book was the first book that I picked up in 2 months when my life went to chaos. But it's essentially about this boy named Bastian who finds a never-ending story and then finds out that he's actually a part of it, and he eventually ends up in the book. I didn't know what to think of this. I think I just read it at the wrong time because it had been 2 months since I picked up a book. And I think that fantasy was the wrong thing to pick up for that. But yeah, I also didn't quite understand what was happening. It flipped back and forth between the real world and the never-ending story so quickly that I'm not quite sure I understood the narrative completely. But I'll probably try the book again at some point because I want to see if I just read it at the wrong time or if I actually didn't like it. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Boom. Okay. The next one, according to my spreadsheet, is Margot Zimmerman Gets the Girl. And go. Okay, this book is about Margot Zimmerman, she's, I want to say grade 11 or grade 12 in high school, and she has recently just figured out that she might be gay. And so she wants, like, gay tips. So she goes to this other gay girl in school, Abby, and she goes to a trade. She'll tutor her if Abby teaches her how to be gay. And it's just a cute little love story between these two. It ends up being a cute love story between these two characters. And I don't know, I feel like on paper this is normally a storyline that would annoy me, but I found it so cute. And the main character has autism, I have autism, so in a way I related to that. But yeah, overall it was a cute story, and I will buy the physical copy. Boom. Okay. Next one was Elegance and the Hedgehog. And go. I don't need a minute for this book. I hated this book with every fibre of my being. I only read like 20 pages before I gave up on this book. But yeah, it is so, like, pretentious and just... It was written by this psychology professor who, I don't really know why they wrote this, but they really shouldn't have. It is so annoying and just absolutely ridiculous. Alright, I don't need the other 30 seconds because that's all I want to say about this book. I didn't read much of it, I didn't care enough to. Okay. Moving on. The next book is Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. And go. Okay, this book is about Cassidy Blake. Her and her ghost friend Jacob are accompanying Cassidy's parents to Paris to film a new episode of her parents' TV show. While they're there, they meet this new ghost that Cassidy has to help, and he's only like 6, so it's quite a sad story actually. The fact that the 6-year-old is dead, he doesn't even really know that he's dead, and he can't find any of his family. So they have to find a way to help this kid first realize that he's dead, and then send him to the spirit world where he'll live in peace, and he'll probably end up getting to see his family. And then also we got Jacob's backstory in this book, and that was actually quite heartbreaking too. He basically wanted to tell Cassidy his story in case he ever forgot. Cassidy could remind him. Okay, the next book is The Rachel Incident by Caroline Donahue. And go. Okay, this book was an interesting one. It was on there as a host favorite in the Amazing Readathon, so I thought I would pick it up because it was on Scribd or Everend. And it's essentially about this girl named Rachel who lives in Ireland, I think. And yet she has a best friend whose name I cannot remember, and he has an affair with the professor, but she lets everyone think that she had an affair with the professor. It's complicated, but I was really enjoying the story, but because Rachel's character annoyed me so much, it had to stay at like an average 3. Even though the story was good, I just found the character of Rachel a bit too annoying and too unself-aware. And for that, the rating had to come down. But overall, it was a well-written story. Okay, next book is Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. 1 minute and go. Okay, this book is about Peter Pan who meets Wendy and her brothers John and Michael, and they travel to Neverland. Now, yeah, it's essentially it is a lot different to the movie. In this book, it takes a very darker route, and it was actually kind of boring. But yet, Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, you still have the Lost Boys and all the characters and the pirates, and there's still this battle between Peter and Hook. But it takes a different route than the movie did. I'm not going to get into it because that would spoil the book. And I know that it's been a long time, but I've only got a minute, so I'm not going to get into that. But I did quite like the story. I loved the Disney movies, so I was intrigued. Alright, we're stopping mid-thought. This is why we're doing 1-minute reviews, because I could just ramble on and on. Okay, next book is Last Night at Telegraph Club. Okay, and go. Last Night at Telegraph Club is about this girl in 1930s China, and she is introduced to this telegraph club, and she realizes that she may be gay, and she goes to the telegraph club with this other girl in her school, and she essentially learns more about the lifestyle of lesbians in this time era. And yeah, she makes a lot of friends with these girls and eventually forms a romance with this girl she met in school, but her parents don't approve of it, so they have to keep it secret because this is like in a time when this wasn't acceptable. And yeah. Okay. That one was really hard to review because I couldn't remember parts of it. Okay. The next couple we've already done. Okay, so the next one on here that I haven't reviewed yet is Falling by TJ Newman. And go. Okay, I read this one on ebook. It was quite boring. It was essentially about this pilot who is told that he has to crash the plane or his family will die. And with premise like that, you would think it would be more exciting. But no, it was actually quite dull. It was about these two. It was about this man who is told to go and fly this plane, but but he wasn't meant to be flying the plane at all. It's a whole thing. But yeah, I really wanted more from this book. And I actually picked the twist about halfway through the book. So when that was revealed to be true, yeah, it wasn't a surprise because I had guessed it already. And if you make it that people can guess the twist in your thriller, then maybe you should have done something else. Okay, the next one on this list that I haven't already reviewed is Everything I Never Told You by Celestine. Okay, 1 minute and go. Everything I Never Told You by Celestine. This is essentially about a girl whose name I can't remember. I don't have the book in front of me, and I can't remember names all that well sometimes. But yeah, it's essentially about this girl. She is kind of like this black sheep, I think is the word, in her family. And she's got a lot of pressure put on her. And essentially, their family is brought together when this girl goes missing and then winds up dead. So it's essentially a mystery to figure out how this girl ended up dead, and also them dealing with their family stuff and their grief at the same time. And it's like how your family can be burdened with how like one tragic accident can cause your family to either tear apart or stick together. And yeah, I really liked the relationships. I rambled on for way too long again. Okay, the next one on here is A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. 1 minute and go. So the best way to describe this book is kind of practical magic meets Charmed. Charmed in the sense of its three magical sisters. Practical magic in the sense that there is a curse on their family that causes them to... So essentially, these three sisters, they are trying to change the curse so that they're not trapped in this town, and that they can go out and see more of it, and their family can be together. I won't tell you if they succeed, because this is the first in a series, and that's kind of a spoiler. I listened to this on Gavin Reads It All's recommendation, link him down below, and I thought it was a cute story. It had time travel, and there wasn't so much romance, which I liked, but it was also a middle grade, so that might have been weird. But yeah, overall, I will continue in this series. Okay, the next one is Tempalali Summer by Sachiko Kashiwaba. Okay, 1 minute and go. Okay, so this is a book that is translated from Japanese. It's about this boy whose family has a temple and it can bring people back to life. And so he notices this girl that no one else seems to remember, because they've always known her as someone else. It's a connection to this temple. But yeah, it's a fascinating story about friendship and if you had the opportunity to have a second chance at life, would you take it? And what would you do if you only had a specific amount of time? Would you have any regrets, or would you accept that how you lived your life is how it was meant to leave, and you end up, and essentially it's a story about second chances and life, like returning, resurrection. Okay. Next book that I can't hold up is This Is How You Lose the Time War. And go. Okay, so this book is kind of like a Romeo and Juliet type story. And it's about red and blue. They're on opposite sides of this war, but they communicate through letters. Now, honestly, I really wanted more from this story based on the hype it got around BookTube and the internet. I really wanted more with the story, but everything happened really fast and I just couldn't keep up with what was happening. Half of the book, I don't actually know what happened in the book because everything happened really quickly and I couldn't quite follow what happened and where we ended up. So I couldn't really feel for these characters as much as I wanted to because I just didn't know what happened in the story. So it was hard for me to have sympathy for characters that I couldn't understand. But it was well written. It just was probably a bit too smart for me. Okay. Oh, and that's the last one that I haven't already talked about. So that was it for June rapid reviews. I don't know if this was a good idea or a stupid one, but I don't like doing long wrap-ups. So this is kind of a new way of doing wrap-ups. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So I'll see you in the next video, or maybe not. Stick around if you like, or if you don't, it doesn't matter. But I'll see you guys soon. Bye!